Welcome back to the Daily Mastermind. George Wright with your daily dose of inspiration, motivation, and education. I'm glad you're here with me today. I want to talk with you a little bit about that friend you've got following you around, that voice that you have inside your head. This is one of the topics that comes up a lot on the Daily Mastermind because it's one that a lot of people struggle with. It's the idea of what's going on inside your head. You know, we've had all of these experiences in our life. We've had all of these opportunities to grow, and yet we have, tagging right along with us, this voice inside our head. And I want to talk to you a little bit about that. And I know we've shared some ideas from Michael Singer, who wrote the book, The Untethered Soul, and he makes it a real priority in his life to help people to recognize that you are not the voice. You are the person that's hearing the voice. But if you have that voice, you know what I'm talking about. It's that voice that's telling you you can't do things. It's the voice that's criticizing you. It's the voice that's asking questions all the time, trying to get you to be distracted. And most of the time, that voice is being driven by your beliefs and things that you have in your life. But what I want to do today is I want to talk to you about the fact that we all need some strategies, right? We actually need strategies and tactics to deal with it because just like most things in personal development, we know what we need to do, but we're not doing it. And so when you have that voice come up inside your head, what you have to recognize is it's affecting your results in your life. And so I want to reference a book that I really like. It's by Mary Lore, and it's called Managing Thought. The subtitle is actually Think Differently, Think Powerfully, and Achieve New Levels of Success. So I think this book where Michael Singer really talks a lot about being untethered from that voice and recognizing that you are the one watching and listening, not the voice itself. I think Mary does a really good job of giving a lot of strategies and tactics. Her book talks about, rethinking your path to success and refocusing your goals and your priorities and reframing your negative thoughts and revitalizing the energy you have and getting more peace of mind. And I think that those are all topics that will help you on your journey. And not only that, I think at the end of the day, we do need to have strategies. We've got to have ways for us to deal with this. So that book, which I'll recommend to you right now, chapters 5 and 6 are the ones that I like to reread on occasion because they really set up the argument that you are not your mind. But, and like I said, we talk about this a lot on the Daily Mastermind because the biggest thing working against you sometimes is you, right? But if you don't manage your thoughts, what you have to recognize is that they will go wild. If you are not managing, training, and developing strategies to manage that voice inside your head, your results are going to be affected. We've talked about that equation where your thoughts will create feelings, which drive your actions, which ultimately create your results. But managing your thought is not just a topic for people that are doing personal development. I believe everyone should consciously be working on their thoughts. Because if you want to live a happy life, a fulfilled life, you've got to be proactive on doing that self-work. So I want to give you a reminder here. The biggest first reminder I want to give you is that the now, right now, the present, is the only reality that exists. So to influence your life, you've got to be present and you've got to be working on these types of things here and now, not later on, not the seminar or the workshop you went to before, but on a day-to-day basis, hence the name, the Daily Mastermind. You know, Buddha said, we are what we think, and that all we are arises from our thoughts. So with our thoughts, we remake the world. And you can only do that in the present moment. So what I like to do is, if you go get that book, you'll notice that there are 3 keys to success. There are really 3 keys to success that Mary kind of talks about. I want to give you those keys right now. The first is self-awareness. Self-awareness. The second is self-mastery. And the third is being on purpose. So the best way you can manage your thoughts is to first understand and be aware that you are not your thoughts. Self-awareness. Number 2, self-mastery. Learn to manage, control, deal with strategies, and be prepared for tactics when your thoughts are going crazy. And third, being on purpose. I believe that when you're on purpose and you're passionate about what you're doing and you're feeling fulfilled, you are going to continue to be inspired. And, we've been taught that our actions, everything you do, will drive your results. But we know this is not true entirely. It's not entirely true. Your actions don't drive your results. I mentioned this before. Your beliefs are what create your thoughts. that drive those feelings and actions. And I've talked not only about that kind of equation, your thoughts lead to feelings, lead to actions, lead to results, but there's another one I talk about, which is called the belief cycle. The belief cycle adds a little something extra to it. Whatever you believe will drive your actions and the resources you put into it to create your results. And I always say that a lot of times. People tell me all the time, I really want this, I really want this, I really want this. And I always ask them, if your beliefs, if your actions don't reflect that, then it's doubtful you really believe you can do it. And that's the point here, is that you've got to learn to control and master and manage your thoughts, because your thoughts are going to create everything in your life. That's why our results are truly driven by our thoughts and driven by our actions. So I love the idea, and I want you to listen to me here. I love the idea that when you're inspired, we achieve more results. You know, the happiness, the thankfulness, the vision, the purpose, and the wonder of possibility is what really drives your creativity, which can influence your beliefs and influence your thoughts. I really believe that. So I want to bring up this kind of critical point for you. I say critical point because I really want to get your focus on this. The question we really need to ask ourselves is whether we are driving our thoughts or we are being plagued by self-doubt and fear and worry, and we're just being reactive in life with our thoughts. So let me ask that another way. Are you being reactive? Are you on autopilot with what you do every day in your thoughts, or are you being proactive with your thoughts? See, Eckhart Tolle said, thinking has become a disease. It's not so much that we use your mind wrong. You usually don't use it at all. It uses you. That is the disease. You believe that you are your mind. And I love that quote because I think it's so important. Once you recognize you're not your mind, then you know you have to do something about it. You have to understand that if you're not your mind, you've got to put some boundaries in place, because our mind and our brains, they're tools. They're tools that observe and sense and store and retrieve info. And their whole job is to automate things so that you don't have to take all these thoughts you're getting and try to figure them out all the time. So the key is to be using that tool effectively and not having it use you. That's the key. When we stop and we become aware, you can shift your thoughts from that, hypothalamus to the frontal cortex of the brain. This allows that CEO center of your mind to take over and start to create more solutions. But the thing that I struggled with all the time, I recognize, and I've read a lot of these books and I've studied a lot of things, and I recognize that I am not my mind. But implementing it, I just couldn't quite figure out. I would get in that zone and then I'd come back to it and it'd happen again. And I'd get in that zone and I'd come back to it and happen again. And what you have to realize is that the key to success with this is to constantly practice it. Constantly practice being aware, because your brain is hardwired to protect you from your fears, your thoughts, your beliefs, and everything else. But if we can just stop, and this is a very, very important point, if we could just stop when this is happening, our mind's going crazy, and calm our minds, we're going to be more productive. We know that the average daily person has like 60,000, I think, thoughts a day. And your creativity literally goes out the window when you're so overwhelmed with thoughts. So that's why it's so difficult for you to get things done, is when your mind's going crazy. Trust me when I say you don't have time for creativity. So the biggest solution you can have when this happens is to literally stop what you're doing, take a break, go for a walk, do exercise, meditate, whatever it is to calm your mind. Separate yourself from your mind. Now, I know from experience this is really hard to do, but when you're aware of it and you practice it, it will get easier and easier with frequency and repetition. So try to see how much more productive you can be when you actually get going really busy and you have all kinds of things going on and you just stop and calm your mind. Now, another key thing I like to remind myself of is that we're not our feelings, because our minds, they play tricks on us, and they try to convince us that we are our feelings, and then we are caught up in the feelings, but it's just a reflection of things that are going on in our world. So I have to emphasize, our feelings, they can be, by the way, even though that could be a real problem, they can be an incredible tool to help us manage our minds. Your feelings are a good indicator as to whether you're on purpose. Your feelings are a good indicator, because when you have thoughts about yourself, for example, and they give you bad feelings, that's a great red flag to let you know that you're having the wrong kind of thoughts. So your feelings can be a good indicator of how to manage your mind when your mind's going off track. And maybe we're not aligned with the best version of ourselves, but we can constantly be working on that. And so when this happens and your feelings get out of control or your thoughts are going crazy, in addition to stopping and relaxing, just take notice of your emotions. Take notice of your emotions and where they're going. Because when you step back and analyze your emotions, it's a powerful way to take control of a situation. We believe that our emotions are kind of like we get caught up in them. But when you can recognize too many thoughts and calm down, or when you recognize emotions or negative emotions, then you can learn to identify those as red flags to step back. Now, powerful, positive thoughts and emotions, they can be real catalysts for change, but they only happen when you're in a state of inspiration and creativity. When you're in a powerful state, right? This is what we talk about when we talk about doing positive affirmations or declarations. This is a way that you can keep yourself in a powerful state because you're saying things that are going to help you stay in that positive zone, that positive emotional state. Love, gratitude, forgiveness. They're far more powerful than anger, resentment, and blame. So saying things like, I am successful. I am loving. I am in a good situation. I'm grateful for this and that. When you say things like I should be, or I want to be, or I should be this, or should be that, that's not the same. It's not as powerful as saying I am. So that's why we talk about powerful, positive emotions and affirmations. Now, the book that I mentioned in the beginning here from Mary Laura, this book on managing your mind, she gave a really good example that I think you can use as kind of an analogy. And she refers to the process of managing your thoughts like pruning a tree. So to really grow a tree strong, you have to start with purpose. You have to have a tree, but then you have to prune that tree back so that it will grow. You have to be able to get rid of the negative thoughts, the branches and things so that it will grow. And the way to do this, you've got to have strategies to do it. So I recommend going through the book because in addition to recognizing the thoughts and clearing your mind, and in addition to noticing your emotions and using that as a way to identify what you can do differently, the book talks about all kinds of things. It talks about ways to eliminate time and money and energy, sucking things from your life, and how to get rid of your destructive thoughts, how to shape your thoughts, how to ask powerful questions, how to make powerful statements, daily rituals, how to manage your energy, and all kinds of things. So I'm not going to cover that here in the episode today, but ultimately, they're all examples. They're all things that we can do to work on our minds and manage our minds. Now, with that said, I want to once again encourage you this week to just empower yourself to do some learning. And most importantly, become aware of your thoughts. Just the fact that you become aware of your thoughts and emotions constantly will help you. It's like what you focus on grows. What you measure will get better. And so that's the message I want to leave you with today. I hope you have an amazing week this week. I'm looking forward to talking with you. And if you haven't gone over to jointheevolution.com yet, you'll find out about our Evolution X Mastermind that we're launching. That's at jointheevolution.com. But you can also hit me up on the Daily Mastermind on Instagram, Facebook. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear what you're working on. And let me know what you're needing help with. That's what we're doing the Daily Mastermind for. You're the average of the people you hang out with. And so I want to be that positive influence for you in your life. That's my message. I hope you have an amazing day. I'll talk with you soon.